It's not supplements, it's not supersets, it's not training splits, it's not RPE. So, lens looks good. Welcome to the video. Here we are in my dungeon/garage, and we're here to talk about what really matters for building muscle. It's not supplements, it's not supersets, it's not training splits, it's not RPE. Those things are just not important until you have these 8 fundamentals in place. Number 1, eat protein 4 to 6 times a day. So let's go a little bit further. Eat this much protein 4 to 6 times a day. That works out to be probably 25 to 50 grams of protein per serving per day, 4 to 6 times a day. Spread it out evenly. That's having protein every 3 to 5 hours. That's going to support your muscle building goals. It's going to support muscle retention. Make sure that you don't lose muscle. That's the main thing. And then make sure that you're feeling pretty full if you're on a diet. It can get a little bit hard if you're massing to get that much in, but you still need to do it if you want to maximize your muscle growth. Number 2 is you need to train at least 4 times a week. I have clients come to me sometimes, or people in the consultation, and they say that they can't train 4 times a week. If someone says that, I honestly say you're going to have to reevaluate your muscle gain goals if you can't commit to at least 4 sessions a week. That's not me trying to be righteous and say that, oh, I train harder than you or anything like that. That's just what it takes to be able to do enough work to actually stimulate muscle growth. Realistically, we're looking at absolute minimum of 4 sessions a week, perhaps moving into 5 sessions, maybe even 6 sessions. Myself, I've spent the best part of my training career training 5 times a week, and only in the last year have I moved to 6 times a week as a way to spread that workout more evenly over the course of the week so I can enjoy my workouts more and so they're more productive. Number 3 is you need to train each muscle group at least twice a week. You can forget about those bro training splits. They work for the juiced up IFBB pros, but they won't work for the natural guys. We need to train every muscle group at least twice a week. We know we need to hit each muscle group with about 10 hard sets of work per week. We can't do that in one session. Think about it, a monster leg day from back in the day where you do legs once a week. For you to do enough work to stimulate muscle growth consistently, we're looking at 10 hard sets for your quads, 10 hard sets for your hamstrings, and 10 hard sets for your calves. That's a 30 set workout. Do you think that you could do 30 sets in a workout and it will be really productive? No, I didn't think so. Number 4, you need to do at least 3 to 5 hard sets per muscle per session. I don't mean that you need to train every muscle group in every session. What I mean is, of the muscles that you're training in that session, you need to do 3 to 5 hard sets. So let's take a split that would make sense. So push-pull legs, push-pull legs. That way you're training every pushing exercise twice a week, every pulling exercise twice a week, and every leg exercise twice a week. And that will allow us to do enough work per session. So 3 to 5 hard sets per muscle group per session. Let's look at that push workout. We're going to be mainly hitting your pecs, we're going to hit your delts, and we're going to hit your triceps. So we could do 3 hard sets of bench press, and followed by 3 hard sets of dips. There we go, we've got 6 sets of pressing of chest in that exercise. There will be a bit of carryover to the triceps too. You could do 3 hard sets of skull crushers, followed by 3 hard sets of lateral raises. There's your 3 to 5 set hard set sweet spot for making sure that that training session is productive, but it's not too long. 5, take your recovery seriously. You can't grow muscle if you're not recovering. You're not that special snowflake that doesn't need rest, that doesn't need sleep, that doesn't need a deload. So you need to make sure that you're getting at least 1 full day of training. I don't mean just lie in bed and do absolutely nothing, but at least 1 full day a week where you're not picking up a weight and you're not doing anything like that. You need to make sure you're sleeping enough as well. It's something that in this world we all forget about. We all think we don't need it, but we really, really do. One thing you can do to help yourself sleep a little bit more is try not to use a screen in the bedroom. Like me, I haven't got a TV in my bedroom. I do my best not to look at my phone in my room. I don't do any work on my laptop in my room. I never even take my laptop in the bedroom. And what that's done is it's really helped program me that when I go in that bedroom, it's time to sleep. You need at least sort of 6 hours, at the bare minimum 6 hours. If you're getting 6 hours, you're not trying hard enough. Then we're really aiming for 7 to 9 hours sleep a night. You need to be deloading regularly as well. So I don't mean just taking a week off training every 2 weeks or anything like that, but we want to make sure around every 5 to 8 weeks you're taking a week off training where you're doing at least half the work you'd normally do. This is to give your body a chance to recover from all the volume accumulation that you've had the previous training weeks, but also to prepare you for the next hard batch of training. 6, you need to train hard. This isn't me being righteous and saying that No one trains as hard as me, but you need to train hard. I'm a personal trainer, I work with people in person. One of the biggest problems that people have is they don't know how to work hard. I'm not having to go at people because they don't work hard, I'm saying they don't know how to work hard. And that's because no one ever really teaches you what hard muscle building training feels like. You have to just, most people just go out on their own, they don't really figure it out. I'm not trying to disregard reps in reserve or rate of perceived exertion. What I'm trying to get through is the fact that even if you're training at 3 reps in reserve, so 3 reps away from failure, that is still a really hard set. So over the course of the training blocks that I program, people generally move from 3 reps in reserve across the weeks to 0 reps in reserve. Week 5, you're going to be training to failure on most sets. And then in week 1, we're going to be avoiding failure, but training to 3 reps in reserve does not mean that this training is easy by any means. What I'm constantly reinforcing with clients is that 3 reps in reserve training is still really hard. You're still puffing, you're still gassed at the end of the set, you're still feeling muscle burn in the muscles that you're training. You're still seeing a little bit of technical slowdown, not breakdown, but you're seeing the reps start to slow down. That's where 3 reps in reserve sits. It's still really, really close to failure. Think of it this way. If someone had a gun to your head, could you do more reps? If the answer is yes, you could push a little bit harder, and on the final week of training, you would give it your absolute all. You would go way to that point where you get nosebleeds and you start vomiting. But in the earlier weeks when we're training at 3 reps in reserve or 2 reps in reserve, then you still imagine that that gun is there and that they're making you do the work, but you just don't go right to the end. So it's still going to be really, really, really tough training. 7, learn to lift properly. So I'm exposed to loads of people in the gym because I work with people in person. So many people don't understand how to actually move in a way during an exercise that would stimulate the target muscle to the max. Let's look at me as an example. My first sort of 3 or 4 years of training, I didn't grow my quads. They barely changed, even though I was squatting all the time and leg pressing all the time. I hadn't figured out how to do those exercises in an effective way to stimulate the target muscle. It took me such a long time to realise how to fully engage my quads in the exercise. Don't be arrogant, don't presume that you know how to train because you've been doing it for years. I was humbled after about 5 years of training after I worked with some other people. I hired some coaches to teach me where I was going wrong, and I was so surprised I was going wrong, left, right and centre, even though I thought I only had 1 or 2 things to clean up. Learn how to train properly, learn how to stimulate the target muscle. Say for bench press, for example, you should feel your pecs burning like hell, even if you're only doing like maybe 8 reps in that set. With squats, you should feel your quads burning. I know it works loads of different exercises, loads of different muscles, even like your quads, your glutes, all sorts of things. Like when you're doing upright rows, you should feel your delts burning. If you're not getting that feedback, then ask yourself, am I doing this in the most effective way? Are there tweaks I could use or utilise to make sure I'm doing this more effectively? 8, you need to be consistent. All of the previous 7 things that I've gone through, you need to consistently do those day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. Do it for a lifetime. If you're not doing these 8 things all the time, you can't expect to maintain the physique that you want or even grow new muscle tissue. You need to have protein 4 to 6 times a day. You need to train at least 4 times a week. You need to train at every muscle group at least twice a week. Make sure you're doing 3 to 5 hard sets per muscle per session that you train it. You need to take your recovery seriously. You need to train hard. You need to learn to lift properly and actually stimulate the muscles that you want to stimulate. And you need to be consistent. If you're struggling to get these 8 fundamentals in place, then just click the link in my bio and then book yourself a consultation call. We'll go through all these 8 points. We'll go through your lifestyle. We'll try and figure out how best to integrate it all in a way that leads to maximal muscle growth for you.